Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Chairman, Karachi Council of Foreign Relations, Mr. Iqrar, Circule. Former US Assistant Secretary of the United States for South Asia, Ambassador ROBEN REFIN, Vice Admiral Khalid Meer, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to firstly commend the Karachi Council of Foreign Relations for convening this seminar at a critical juncture and for giving me the opportunity to interact with and benefit from such distinguished luminaries. We need just hours away from the inauguration of the 46th President of the United States. President-elect Joe Biden takes over after what can only be described as an intense and unprecedented transition. As the new administration assumes the helm in Washington, D.C., this is an opportune moment to envision the direction of what I believe is among the most consequential relationships in South Asia. Pakistan-US relations have been consequential not only in terms of history, when we were steadfast allies during the Cold War and when Pakistan facilitated the building of bridges between China and the US. But we are consequential also in terms of what an uncertain future holds for the region and the world. Distinguished participants, there has already been an exchange of messages between Prime Minister Imran Khan and President-elect Biden, who has affirmed his interest in working with Pakistan on issues of common interest. President Joe Biden is no stranger to Pakistan, nor Pakistan to him. We are old friends. During his 8 years as Vice President and earlier in his leadership positions in the influential Senate Foreign Relations Committee, President Biden had developed deep insights on the dynamics impacting Pakistan-US relations and South Asia. His addition will include many familiar faces and experienced hands who know firsthand the value of close engagement between our two countries and peoples. Although no strangers to South Asia, I believe President Joe Biden and his team will discover that a lot of water has flown under the bridge. Over the past 4 years, for better or for worse, the world has changed. The US has changed. The region has changed, and so has Pakistan. The Afghan peace process, for which both the United States and Pakistan have worked so hard, is at a pivotal juncture. The process is essentially meant to bring to a responsible end the longest war in America's history. For this, there is bipartisan support. South Asia's largest state is under the iron grip of fascism-inspired Hindutva ideology, which is not only illiberal, but also racist, extremist, and violent. From geopolitics of the past, Pakistan has pivoted towards geoeconomics. And the people of Kashmir are under an unrelenting siege. A world vastly different in complexity and complexion, animated by a different set of drivers and faced with a myriad of challenges is upon us. The pandemic, the global economic slowdown, climate change, and the erosion of multilateralism are clear and present crises. Drawing upon our historic ties, the reset in Pakistan-US relations must develop shared understandings to deal with the challenges of today for a better tomorrow. Let me throw some light on how things have changed and what I believe must be the pivots for a renewed partnership. 1. Pakistan's security environment has vastly improved. At the cost of 83,000 innocent lives and some $126 billion losses to our economy, we have turned the tide against terrorism. We have not only cleared the erstwhile tribal areas of all remnants of terrorism, but have also integrated the region into the political mainstream. Pakistan continues to take unprecedented actions against proscribed groups. Our journey from terrorism to tourism is exemplified most recently by the New York Times designation of Lahore as one of the top places to visit in 2021. 2. Under the leadership of Prime Minister Imran Khan, a fundamental transformation has taken place in Pakistan. Our priority is to pursue economic growth and human development. We have declared on multiple occasions that Pakistan will never again be part of a regional conflict, that we will only be partners for peace. We have shown by words and by deeds that a dignified peace is what we desire, and a dignified peace is what we will work for. The establishment of the Kartarpur corridor and the return of the downed Indian pilot who had violated our airspace is one manifestation among many of this fundamental policy focus. 3. Nowhere is Pakistan's vision for a peaceful neighborhood more manifestly evident than in the efforts we have made as part of a shared responsibility in support of peace in Afghanistan. While the road to peace in Afghanistan remains long and difficult, Pakistan and the United States have made progress that would have appeared improbable, if not incredible, just 2 years ago. Despite the challenges that lie ahead, the Afghan peace process still offers Afghanistan and the region its best chance for peace in 40 years. It is our hope and expectation that the Biden administration would persevere with it. While the United States can and must continue to count on Pakistan as a partner for peace in Afghanistan, there are other actors who do not share this vision. Spoilers have to be guarded against. Equally importantly, both our sides must remain cognizant that achieving an inclusive political settlement in Afghanistan would only be the first step towards peace. Pakistan and the United States would need to work together to facilitate Afghanistan's transition from a war economy to a peace economy. The continued support and engagement of the international community would be of vital for sustainable peace and development in Afghanistan. This will require close consultations between Pakistan and the United States going forward. 4. India has changed. It has changed for the worse. India's actions of August 5th, 2019, and its continuing repression of the Kashmiri people, its persecution of religious minorities, and its strained relations with most of its neighbors are all makers of the Hindu nationalist frenzy that has gripped India. Imagined geopolitical compulsions should not blind the world to India's reality as the primary driver of instability in South Asia. We have already shared a detailed dossier with the United States on India's efforts to foment terrorism and instability in Pakistan. We hope that the Biden administration would facilitate meaningful and substantive engagement between Pakistan and India. Exerting pressure on India to stop its nefarious activities in Pakistan and to work towards resolution of outstanding disputes will be the first step in this direction. The US must also be mindful of India's designs to engineer a crisis to distract attention from its domestic problems. Its leaders have publicly spoken of their desire to use military force against Pakistan. Nothing can be more irresponsible in a nuclearized environment. Ladies and gentlemen, while Pakistan will continue to work with the United States for peace in the region, our relationship has been and must be larger than the sum total of our shared interest with respect to Afghanistan and counterterrorism. The advent of a new administration in Washington is an opportunity for us to build a relationship with the United States that is long-term, broad-based, and multidimensional. Such a partnership would require institutionalized and structured engagement that is based on mutual respect and win-win cooperation. For all the talk of so-called great power transitions and realignments, the logic for a strong Pakistan-US relationship on its own merits and on its own weight remains compelling. It is compelling because of geoeconomics. Pakistan is a nation of over 220 million people, two-thirds of whom are under 30 years of age. We sit at crossroads of China, South and Central Asia. Pakistan envisions itself as a future hub for trade and investment in the region. Our geoeconomic location operates for all actors involved. Such an outlook will also be crucial to sustain Afghanistan's economy. Pakistan and the United States must work together to extend economic connectivity to Afghanistan and seek opportunities for co-investment by Afghanistan, Pakistan, US, and China. The potential for Pakistan-US partnership in the economic sector is immense. Once we have completed our ongoing connectivity projects, Pakistan would be a conduit to a market of some 3 billion people in South and Central Asia. Just look at the profitability of the corporate sector in Pakistan and compare it with its average profitability globally. And the point I'm making will be clear. Pakistan is an energy-deficient country, while the United States is emerging as a major energy supplier. There is considerable meeting of the minds between the government of Pakistan and the incoming Biden administration's priorities, particularly in the areas of public health and climate change. Our emphasis on providing high quality and subsidized healthcare to all its citizens actually predated the COVID-19 crisis, but has acquired greater urgency since the onset of the pandemic. Similarly, Pakistan has been a regional trailblazer in combating climate change. Our massive tree plantation drives have won international acclaim. We hope to enlist the Biden administration's assistance in mitigating the health crisis and its economic fallout, as well as combating climate change. Eradicating corruption is high on our agenda. We welcome President-elect Biden's call for cracking down on money laundering and illicit safe havens that inflict enormous damage on developing countries. The people of Pakistan have always had tremendous cultural affinity for the United States. The brightest and most ambitious of Pakistani youth continue to aspire to study in US colleges and universities. We therefore look forward to further enhancing educational exchanges between our two countries. Finally, the Pakistani-American community is an important bridge and pull factor drawing the two countries closer. Over the years, This diverse and enterprising community has found success in the land of endless opportunity. They are actualizing the American dream and increasingly engaging in public service and civic management. The yearning for democratic participation among young Pakistani Americans is a reminder of the many values that stem from their hyphenated identities. It is the commonality of values, the common denominations that are ultimately the bedrock of any strong relationship. Let me conclude by saying that our shared interests, common aspirations for economic development and enhanced connectivity in the region, and this rare moment of hope for peace in Afghanistan provide a strong foundation for both sides to take the bilateral relationship forward. With hope and optimism, let us move ahead. I thank you.
Excellency, Makhdoom Shah Sahab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
First of all, let me thank you for giving us the time. I know you've been busy, but your relationship and my ship go back a long way, particularly when I once heard you in Brussels speaking at a very august gathering, which was co-hosted by the East-West Institute and the World Trade Organization. And you were so eloquent there, and that it was a pleasure. And now to see you at this critical juncture, being the Foreign Minister of Pakistan, is not only a pleasure, but it is a necessity. And we are very mindful of the fact that you face very big challenges, that you are confronted, etc. Just before you came on the screen, we had a massive cyber intervention from India, which almost broke down our connection, right? We just managed to wave off that attack. So what you were saying actually came to pass, actually, later on. You know, it had already happened. So somebody, and it was very clear that the 3 or 4 interventionists were all were not very happy even about discussing the resetting of US-Pakistan relations. We have very good speakers, Ambassador Robin Refin, Michael Kugelman, Ambassador Azad Chaudhry, Ambassador Zamir Akram, and we hope to benefit by more interaction with you in the future. I know you have a short time, and therefore we request you to take 2 short questions from our participants, from the Board of Governors, and then we can go ahead. Thank you.
Excellency, my name is Kaleem Faruqi, and I'll be moderating the session. Very good brief outlay on what the relation was and should be in the future. May I request our Board of Governor member, Dr. Huma Bakai, to pose the first question to you, sir.
Thank you, Kaleem Faruqi. Thank you, Kaleem Faruqi Saab. Assalamu alaikum, Excellency. It's an honor and a pleasure to interact you once again. My question is fairly simple. With more and more tangible evidence mounting against India, what is Foreign Office strategy to take it beyond just highlighting it? Will our diplomatic offensive take it to the next level under the new administration in the US, making it multi-pronged? Are we looking at actually cultivating senators and congressmen in the United States to highlight the issue with President-elect Biden more committed to multilateralism and human rights?
Humaji, to begin with, let me reiterate that our focus has shifted towards geoeconomics. Now that demands peace in the region. And that is why we have a new approach to Afghanistan, and we are actually facilitating peace over there. We wanted a good, healthy relationship on the eastern side with India as well. Unfortunately, the present regime has, by their actions, vitiated the climate. Now, here is a new administration. I understand that they have strong linkages and preferences for India for whatever reasons. But what we want to tell them is we are for peace. We've never shied away from engagement, from dialogue, but the environment that is being created is not very healthy. Now, what do? We will tell them how there is a change of focus in Pakistan. And I think my priority, or my government, Prime Minister Imran Khan's government's priority is going to be that we engage at all levels, at the executive level with the administration. As soon as the transition is done and we have the new Secretary of State, I intend to write to him and engage with him. We intend to engage with think tanks. My view is that we haven't done enough to engage with think tanks, and here is an administration which has an institutionalized approach towards engagement, and opinions of think tanks is important. Then our presence at vis-a-vis the Congress at the Capitol Hill is equally important. We have a federal structure, and we have to understand the complexities of federalism. That is why we need to engage more with the US Congress and their opportunities, because here is a new mindset in Pakistan trying to engage with a fresh approach, members of Congress, and I am confident that when we engage, they will feel the difference. And then it's the media. They are opinion makers. It is very important that we engage with the media. I've seen over the last at least 1 year, with a greater interaction with them, they've started writing more about fundamental abuse, of human rights that is taking place, in the Indian occupied Kashmir. And they're independent people, nobody dictates to them. They have their minds of their own, and they have their own assessment, and they write freely. So engagement at all levels will be a part of our strategy.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Thank you, Huma, for the question that you have asked. Honorable Minister, if you allow me, another board member would like to ask you a question. And this time it's going to be Mr. Javed Ashraf. Javed Saab, your question, please. Javed Ashraf Saab? Your question, please, to the Honorable Minister. You have to unmute, Javed Saab. Javed Ashraf Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
The Minister is waiting for your question, sir. I was told you had a question in mind.
Is it all right now?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Khalid Meer. Your Excellency, my name is Javed Ashraf. I'm Vice Chairman of the KCFR. My observation and a question is that it has been observed that historically Pakistan's foreign policy has been swinging from one extreme to the other. In the 50s and 60s, Pakistan's foreign policy tilted all the way towards the USA. We were totally allied with USA, witnessed the Baghdad Pact, Seattle, etc. In the process, we incurred the enmity of the other superpower, i.e. the USSR. As a result, the Kashmir cause was badly, adversely balanced. We are tilted from the USA and tilting a little too far, too much towards China, our all-weather friend. But then I think there is reason we should have a balanced foreign policy so that we do not annoy the the existing superpower. Do you think, Your Excellency, there has been an unbalance in the foreign policy of Pakistan historically?
Sir, I would like to respond by saying that Pakistan understands the importance of the United States. The United States is a global economic power. United States is a military power. It's a technological power, and we cannot ignore the United States. We've always been keen to remain engaged and remain constructive with the United States. We have convergence in so many areas, and we've had differences. Those differences can also be talked over and ironed out. I think with engagement, we can develop a better understanding of a changing world. This region is changing significantly, and the United States cannot, in my view, should not ignore Pakistan. Pakistan's importance should be known to them. Pakistan has contributed in the past and can contribute in the future as well. Now, you said tilting towards China. Well, China is a friend. China has stood with Pakistan through thick and thin, and that does not mean this is a zero-sum game. We can be friends with China, and we can have an equally important and friendly relationship with the United States. What I would ask the United States administration is, why are you ignoring Pakistan? Now, if the United States turns away, if there is no investment coming into Pakistan, if we do not develop an economic partnership, then if our military to military connections are not as healthy as they were in the past, then where would Pakistan look? Don't push us in a corner. We want a very balanced and a very healthy relationship with two important powers. The United States is an important global power, and China is a rising power. China is Pakistan's neighbor. We share a border. So we have to have a balanced approach. We do not want to be seen in either one camp or the other camp. Our interests are, Pakistan's interests are paramount, and keeping those interests in view, we are willing to engage with everyone.
सीनियर सहाफ़ी शफीक कुरैशी की ज़ेर सदारत जोड़वा शहरों से शाया होने वाला पहला मुकम्मल मुकामी अखबार रोज़नामा 99 न्यूज़, जिसमें मुकामी ख़बरों के अलावा शामिल होती हैं तमाम कौमी और बैनुल-अक़वामी ख़बरें दौरे जदीद के तकाज़ों के ऐन मुताबिक अब तमाम सोशल मीडिया टूल्स फेसबुक, ट्विटर और यूट्यूब के साथ भी दस्तयाब है। आज ही अपने हॉकर से इसकी कॉपी बुक करवाएं या विजिट करें www.99newschannel